My bedroom was above my parents', divided into small alcoves that connected to the hips of the roof on either side. My desk was nestled in one alcove, while my record player cabinet and speakers, along with a blue cushioned window seat, were in the other. The alcoves were painted bright tangerine, and the middle section was mint green, seemingly protesting like a teenage girl longing to escape from the upper corner of the house. "Stop making all that hole!" my mother would shout from the staircase whenever I hammered psychedelic tapestries to the ceiling and pinned huge Janis Joplin and Star Wars posters to the walls. I found an old record player cabinet and its hideous wooden speakers at Goodwill and said, "We can paint it," thrilled at the idea of doing a creative project with my mother. But once we got back to the house, she became busy, and I was left to my own devices. I laid out newspaper in the garage and spray painted the cabinets black and white, attempting to create polka dots, which of course dripped and became misshapen, resembling a melting cow. It reminded me of many such half-baked teenage failures, underscoring the point when I put on an old Leonard Cohen album and remembered it only played in mono. I opened the window, removed the screen I had taken out years ago, and climbed onto the roof. I steadied myself on the slope, setting my feet above the gutter on the coarse tar paper. There were so many stars out, more brilliant than I'd ever remembered, uncorrupted by the lights of the city. The sounds of crickets and frogs resonated from below. At the other end of the roof, when my parents were sleeping, I used to slide down the columns of the portico and meet whichever friend I'd enlisted to drive me for the night. Outside, I'd bound up the gravel driveway to my Liberators, engines idling, and I was free. Second page. The kids who picked me up weren't even particularly close friends, just bored classmates or older kids with licenses who were still awake with nothing else to do. Every so often there'd be a rave in the woods, and we'd dress in elaborate costumes and dance along with the anonymous hippies on ecstasy. Sometimes I would sneak leftover liquor from my parents' holiday parties, like a careful chemist, siphon from various bottles inconspicuous levels of liquid to mix with soda and drink in the park. But most of the time, we'd just drive around listening to CDs, occasionally venturing as far as an hour out to Dexter Reservoir or Fern Ridge, just to sit on the dock and look out at the black water, dark as oil in the night, using it as a sounding board for how confused we were about ourselves and what exactly it was that we were feeling. Other nights we'd drive up to Skinner Butte to get a good view of the dull city that kept us hostage, or drink coffee and eat grated hash browns at the 24-hour IHOP, or sneak our way through some stranger's acreage where we'd once discovered a rope swing. Once we even drove out to the airport just to watch people at the terminal, flying off to cities where we desperately wished we could travel. A couple of nocturnal teens bonded together by a deep, inexplicable loneliness and AOL Instant Messenger. It was not lost on me how different the circumstances were now. Here I was again, this time returned of my own free will, no longer scheming a wild escape into the dark, but desperately hoping that a darkness would not come in. These 2 pages vividly depict the protagonist's adolescent memories, filled with conflicts with her parents, a desire to be creative and free, and her inner struggles and loneliness.